You're just a washed-up old janitor. My dad says people like you are losers who couldn't make it in the real world." The words echoed through Lincoln High School's empty gymnasium, where 16-year-old Tyler Mitchell stood with his arms crossed, sneering at the man quietly mopping the floor. The man, wearing a simple gray maintenance uniform, paused but didn't look up. His weathered hands continued their steady work, guiding the mop in precise, methodical patterns. "Did you hear me, old man? I'm talking to you!" Tyler kicked over the yellow wet floor sign, sending it clattering across the polished hardwood. His designer sneakers squeaked as he stepped directly onto the freshly cleaned surface, leaving deliberate marks. The man finally straightened up, his movements controlled and measured. He was in his early 50s, with close-cropped salt and pepper hair and a lean, muscular build that his loose uniform couldn't quite hide. His dark eyes met Tyler's with an unsettling calmness. "You need to leave the gym. Basketball practice doesn't start for another hour." Tyler laughed, a harsh sound that bounced off the gymnasium walls. "I don't take orders from the help. Do you know who my father is? Richard Mitchell. He owns half the commercial real estate in this county. One phone call from him, and you'll be out on the street." The janitor set his mop aside with deliberate care, his expression unchanged. "I know exactly who your father is." "Good. Then you know better than to mess with me." Tyler pulled out his phone and started recording. "I'm going to make you famous, old man. Everyone's going to see what a pathetic loser you are." What Tyler didn't know was that the man standing before him wasn't just any janitor. His name was Marcus Chen, and for 23 years, he had served in the United States Army Special Forces. He had led teams through some of the most dangerous operations in modern military history, earned 3 Bronze Stars and a Silver Star, and trained hundreds of soldiers in discipline, tactics, and the true meaning of strength. Marcus had retired from active duty 18 months earlier, seeking a quieter life after losing his wife to cancer. The janitorial position at Lincoln High wasn't a failure or a last resort. It was a choice, a way to serve his community in a different capacity while processing his grief. But Tyler, in his teenage arrogance and privilege, saw only a man in a maintenance uniform. "You think you're tough?" Tyler circled Marcus like a predator, his phone camera capturing every moment. "You think cleaning floors makes you important? My future is set. I'm going to Harvard. I'll be running companies while you're still scrubbing toilets." Marcus remained silent, his posture relaxed but alert. He recognized the behavior, had seen it countless times in young recruits who thought they were invincible until reality taught them otherwise. But this wasn't boot camp, and he wasn't this boy's drill sergeant. Nothing to say? "Yeah, that's what I thought. You're nobody." Tyler moved closer, jabbing his finger near Marcus's chest. "My dad pays taxes that cover your pathetic salary. You work for me, basically. So when I tell you to do something, you do it. Now get on your knees and apologize for being in my way." Something flickered in Marcus's eyes, a hardness that hadn't been there before. But his voice remained steady, almost gentle. "Son, you should leave now." "Don't call me son. You're not my father, thank God. My dad is somebody. You're just..." The gymnasium doors burst open, and Principal Hartley strode in, her heels clicking sharply against the floor. Behind her walked a tall man in an expensive suit, Tyler's father, Richard Mitchell. But there were 2 other people with them, both wearing military dress uniforms adorned with ribbons and insignia. "Tyler!" Richard's voice cracked like a whip. His face was flushed red, a vein pulsing in his temple. "Get away from him right now." Tyler's confidence faltered slightly, but he held his ground. "Dad, I was just dealing with this janitor who..." "Shut your mouth." Richard had never spoken to his son like that before. He turned to Marcus, and to Tyler's shock, his powerful father looked genuinely afraid. "Colonel Chen, I apologize. My son didn't know. He's an idiot, but he didn't know." The word hung in the air like a bomb. Colonel. Tyler's phone slipped slightly in his hand. "What?" One of the uniformed visitors, A woman with silver eagles on her shoulders stepped forward. Colonel Marcus Chen is one of the most decorated Special Forces officers in the United States Army. He led Delta Force operations that saved countless American lives. I served under his command for 6 years, and I've never met a more honorable man. The other officer, a grizzled man with Master Sergeant stripes, added, "The colonel retired last year after his wife passed. He took this position because he believes in serving his community in any way he can. That's the kind of man he is." Tyler felt the floor tilt beneath him. All the words he'd said, the insults he'd hurled, replayed in his mind with horrifying clarity. He's just wearing what? A maintenance uniform. Marcus finally spoke, his voice carrying a weight it hadn't before. Does a uniform determine a person's worth, Tyler? Does a job title tell you everything about someone's character, their sacrifices, their story? Principal Hartley crossed her arms. Tyler, Colonel Chen specifically requested that no one at the school be told about his military service. He wanted to be treated like everyone else, to just do his job without special attention. He's been here for 6 months, treating everyone with respect, doing excellent work. And this is how you treat him! Richard grabbed his son's arm. Do you have any idea what this man has done? What he's sacrificed? While you're sleeping in your comfortable bed, playing your video games. Men like Colonel Chen were in deserts and mountains, making sure you could grow up safe. I'm sorry, I didn't, Tyler started, but Marcus raised his hand. You didn't what? Didn't know? So you treat people with disrespect until you find out they're important? Marcus's tone wasn't angry, but it cut deeper than any shout could have. Let me tell you something about respect, Tyler. Real respect isn't given based on rank or wealth or status. It's given to every human being as a baseline, because they're human. What you showed me today wasn't a lack of respect for a colonel. It was a lack of respect for a person. The female colonel nodded. We came here today because the school is hosting a Veterans Day assembly tomorrow, and Principal Hartley asked us to speak. She also mentioned that Colonel Chen works here and thought we might know him. We served together in Afghanistan. 2 of my team members died under Colonel Chen's command, the Master Sergeant said quietly. Not because of his mistakes, but despite his best efforts to save them. He carried one of them 3 miles through enemy territory, got shot twice doing it, and still completed the mission. Then he wrote letters to both families, attended both funerals, and set up college funds for their kids with his own money. Tyler felt sick. His phone hung limply in his hand, the video still recording his humiliation. Marcus looked at the teenager, and for the first time, his expression softened slightly. You want to know why I do this job, Tyler? After everything I've done, everything I've seen, it's because I believe in service. Real service isn't about glory or recognition. It's about doing what needs to be done, whether anyone notices or not. These floors need to be clean, so I clean them. That bathroom needs repair, so I fix it. A student drops their books, I help them pick them up. That's service. But you could do anything, Tyler whispered. You could have some important job, make tons of money. I had an important job, and I did it well. Now I have a different job, and I do this well too. Marcus picked up his mop again. The question isn't what I could be doing. It's what you're going to do with what you've learned today. Richard turned to his son, and Tyler had never seen his father look so disappointed. You're going to delete that video. Then you're going to apologize, properly, and then you're going to show me that I didn't completely fail as a parent. Tyler's hands shook as he deleted the recording. The words stuck in his throat, inadequate and hollow. Colonel Chen, I'm really sorry. I was completely wrong. I said terrible things and I'm sorry. Marcus studied him for a long moment. Apology noted. But sorry isn't enough, Tyler. Sorry is just words. What matters is what you do next, how you change. You have a choice now. You can keep being the person who judges people by their uniforms and job titles, or you can become someone who recognizes value in everyone. The principal cleared her throat. Tyler, you're suspended for 3 days for your disrespectful behavior. When you return, you'll be volunteering 10 hours in the maintenance department, working alongside Colonel Chen. And you'll be writing a 5-page essay on the meaning of service and respect. Yes, ma'am, Tyler mumbled, his earlier arrogance completely evaporated. Richard nodded his approval. And at home, you're losing your car, your credit cards, and your phone for a month. You'll be doing community service every weekend. It's time you learned what real life looks like for most people. As Tyler turned to leave with his father, Marcus called out, "Tyler!" The teenager stopped, afraid to turn around. You have potential. You're smart. You're confident. But confidence without humility is just arrogance, and intelligence without wisdom is just cleverness. This could be the moment that defines what kind of man you become. Don't waste it. Tyler nodded, unable to speak, and walked out of the gymnasium. The female colonel approached Marcus, a slight smile on her face. Still teaching lessons, I see. Old habits, Marcus replied, returning to his mop. The kid's not bad, just misguided. Rich parents, probably gets everything he wants, never had to struggle for anything. Will the maintenance work and essay actually change him? The master sergeant asked. Marcus shrugged. Maybe. Maybe not, but he'll remember this day for the rest of his life. He'll remember the moment he learned that you can't judge a book by its cover, that real strength is quiet, and that service comes in many forms. Whether he grows from it or not, that's up to him. Principal Hartley waited until the military visitors left before approaching Marcus. I'm sorry I brought them here without warning you. I didn't think about... It's fine, Marcus said. Maybe it needed to happen. That boy was heading down a dangerous path, treating people like they're beneath him. Better. He learns now than later, when the consequences are worse. You're a good man, Marcus Chen. This school is lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have this school. It gives me purpose. He gestured around the gymnasium. These kids, they're the future. If I can help shape that future, even in small ways, then I'm still serving my country. 3 days later, Tyler returned to school. He arrived early, before classes started, and found Marcus in the maintenance office. Colonel Chen, I'm here for my volunteer hours. Marcus looked up from his work schedule. The teenager standing in his doorway looked different. The designer clothes were replaced with plain jeans and an old t-shirt. The arrogance was gone, replaced by genuine nervousness. You can call me Marcus. Or Mr. Chen if you prefer. The colonel retired when I took off the uniform. Yes, sir. I mean Mr. Chen. What do you want me to do? For the next 2 hours, Tyler worked alongside Marcus, cleaning classrooms, emptying trash bins, and fixing a broken door hinge. Marcus didn't lecture or preach. He just worked, showing Tyler through actions, rather than words, what dedication and attention to detail looked like. During a water break, Tyler finally asked the question that had been burning in his mind. Why didn't you tell me who you were? When I was being such a jerk, you could have just said you were a colonel. I would have stopped. Marcus took a long drink of water before answering. And that's exactly why I didn't tell you. Because you would have stopped out of fear or respect for my rank, not because you recognized that treating another human being with disrespect is wrong. The uniform I wore in the army meant something, but it wasn't what made me worthy of respect. What made me worthy of respect was how I treated others, how I served, how I lived my values every single day. My dad has been different since that day, Tyler said quietly. He's making me work at one of his buildings, doing maintenance there. 2. Says I need to understand how businesses actually run, from the ground up. He's also making me meet with all his employees, learn their names, their jobs. How do you feel about that? Tyler considered the question carefully. Honestly, At first, I hated it. I felt embarrassed, like I was being punished. But yesterday, I met this lady who cleans offices in my dad's building. Her name is Maria. She's from Guatemala, has 3 kids, works 2 jobs. She's been cleaning that building for 12 years, and my dad never knew her name. Neither did I. And now you do. Yeah. And when I talked to her, really talked to her, I found out her oldest daughter wants to be a doctor. Maria works 80 hours a week to save money for her daughter's college. She's doing that while I complain about not having the latest iPhone. Tyler's voice cracked slightly. I've been such a privileged idiot. Marcus set down his water bottle and looked at the young man before him. The fact that you recognize that is the first step. A lot of people never take that step, Tyler. They go their whole lives never seeing beyond their own circumstances, never acknowledging their privilege, never feeling empathy for others' struggles. How do I fix it? How do I become better? You start by doing exactly what you're doing now. You work, you listen, you learn. You treat everyone with dignity, regardless of their job or status. And when you see injustice or disrespect, you speak up, even when it's uncomfortable. Marcus stood up, ready to return to work. You also forgive yourself for past mistakes while committing to not repeat them. Guilt can be useful, but only if it motivates change. Over the next several weeks, something remarkable happened at Lincoln High School. Tyler began eating lunch with different groups of students, not just his usual wealthy crowd. He started a tutoring program, helping struggling students with math. He volunteered for community service projects without being forced. Other students noticed. Some mocked him, calling him soft or saying he was just trying to look good for college applications. But others were inspired, joining him in his volunteer work. Marcus watched from a distance, never taking credit, never seeking attention. He just continued his work, maintaining the school, helping where needed, being present for students who needed guidance. One afternoon, Tyler found Marcus repairing lockers in the main hallway. Mr. Chen, can I ask you something? Of course. My college essay. I'm writing about what happened that day in the gym, about how I learned the most important lesson of my life from a janitor who turned out to be a war hero. But I don't want to use your real story without permission. Marcus stopped working and gave Tyler his full attention. What did you learn that day? Tyler thought carefully before answering. I learned that character isn't determined by position or wealth. I learned that real strength is quiet and confident, not loud and arrogant. I learned that service is noble, no matter what form it takes. And I learned that everyone has a story, everyone has value, and everyone deserves respect. Then write that essay. But don't focus on me being a colonel. Focus on the lesson itself. Because the truth is, Tyler, you could have learned that same lesson from Maria, the cleaning lady in your dad's building. You could have learned it from any of the cafeteria workers here, or the bus drivers, or the administrative staff. They all have stories. They all have value. I just happened to have a rank that forced you to pay attention. Tyler nodded slowly, understanding the deeper meaning. You're saying the lesson isn't about you being special. It's about everyone being special. Exactly. That's wisdom, Tyler. That's growth. The Veterans Day assembly arrived, and the entire school gathered in the auditorium. The female colonel and master sergeant returned, giving powerful speeches about service and sacrifice. Then Principal Hartley did something unexpected. We have one more veteran to honor today. He didn't want recognition, but I believe his story needs to be told. Would Colonel Marcus Chen please come to the stage? Marcus stood reluctantly as the auditorium erupted in applause. Students who had walked past him every day, never giving the janitor a second glance, now saw him with new eyes. At the microphone, Marcus was brief. I don't need thanks or recognition. Every veteran did what they did because they believed in something bigger than themselves. But I'll say this, service doesn't end when you take off the uniform. Every person in this school serves in some way. The teachers who stay late to help students, the coaches who volunteer their time, the cafeteria workers who prepare meals with care, the maintenance staff who keep this building running, the students who help each other, who show kindness, who stand up for what's right. That's all service. That's all noble. Remember that. As he left the stage, Tyler stood up and began applauding. Then another student stood, then another, until the entire auditorium was on its feet, not just clapping, but showing genuine respect and appreciation. After the assembly, Tyler approached Marcus one final time. "Thank you for not giving up on me, for seeing something worth teaching, even when I was being terrible." Marcus smiled, a rare expression that made him look younger. "You know what I saw that day in the gym, Tyler?" "I saw a young man who had never been challenged, never been pushed to question his assumptions. I saw potential being wasted on arrogance. But I also saw someone smart enough to learn, if given the chance. I'm glad I was right. I'm going to try to be better. Every day, I'm going to try to be the person you believed I could become. That's all anyone can do. Try to be better today than yesterday. Fail sometimes. Get back up. Keep trying. That's the real measure of character." Tyler extended his hand, and Marcus shook it firmly. "I hope I make you proud, sir. You already have. The moment you decided to change, you made me proud." 6 months later, Tyler graduated with his class. His college essay about learning respect and service earned him acceptance to several top universities. But more importantly, it earned him a scholarship specifically for students committed to community service. He chose a school where he could volunteer at a veterans center while studying. On his last day of high school, Tyler found Marcus replacing ceiling tiles in the science wing. "I'm heading out, Mr. Chen. Just wanted to say goodbye." Marcus climbed down from his ladder. "Not goodbye. See you later. You'll be back for holidays, breaks, and I'll still be here, doing what I do. Actually, I have something for you." Tyler pulled out an envelope. "It's a letter. Don't open it now, but read it sometime. I tried to put into words what you did for me, what you taught me. I don't think I succeeded, but I tried." Marcus accepted the envelope with a nod. "I'll treasure it. One more thing. I talked to my dad, and we're establishing a scholarship fund in your name. The Marcus Chen Service Scholarship. It'll go to students who demonstrate commitment to serving others, regardless of their economic background. Students like Maria's daughter." Marcus's eyes grew damp, something Tyler had never seen before. That's an incredible gesture. Thank you. Thank you for seeing potential in a bratty kid who thought he was better than everyone else. Thank you for teaching me what real strength looks like. And thank you for your service, both in uniform and out of it. They shook hands one final time, both understanding that this wasn't just a teacher-student relationship ending. It was a friendship that would endure, built on mutual respect and a shared understanding of what truly matters in life. As Tyler walked out of Lincoln High School for the last time as a student, he passed the gymnasium where his transformation had begun. He paused, remembering the arrogant teenager who had hurled insults at a janitor, never imagining who that man really was, what he had done, what he represented. But more importantly, Tyler had learned that it didn't matter who Marcus Chen had been in the military. What mattered was who he was as a person, kind, humble, dedicated, and wise. Those qualities weren't granted by a rank or title. They were earned through choices, through actions, through a lifetime of living with integrity. That was the real lesson. And it was one Tyler would carry with him forever, shaping not just his career or his success, but the kind of man he would become. All because a special forces colonel in a janitor's uniform chose to teach instead of punish, to guide instead of condemn, and to see potential where others might have seen only a spoiled kid who needed to be put in his place. Sometimes the greatest teachers appear in the most unexpected forms, wearing the most ordinary uniforms, doing the most humble work. The wise learn from them. The foolish walk past, never knowing what they missed. Tyler had been foolish once, but he would be foolish no more.